Google is probably the world's most successful company. So would you believe if I told you that most of the Google products are developed from personal projects done by Google employees? In today's episode of the Wisdom Podcast, we are going to look into how successful startups and companies keep inventing new products. How do they cultivate a culture that promotes innovation? Do they know some secrets of the art of innovation that others don't? Let's find out. Part 1. The culture that inspires creativity. Have you ever noticed that the innovation in technology sector mostly comes from particular places like Silicon Valley, or why some places are so artistic and innovative? Why innovation in art or technology comes from a few selected locations? For example, the development of arts and literature in Florence at the beginning of the 15th century, the development of poetry and literature in Bloomsbury of London, development of computers and tech startups in Silicon Valley of California, software development in Bengaluru, India. These are a few examples of many. What is going on here? This shows us that innovation is most likely to happen when creative people come together and get enough help and resources either from the government or from the organization they are working for. For instance, Google allows its employees to spend 20% of their time on projects of personal interest, something like a pet project or a side project. Many of the great products of Google are developed from these personal projects of employees. For example, Google News, a guy from India named Krishna Bharat developed it from his pet project. Let us explore more about the working culture of innovative organizations like Google. Successful companies have a simple motto: bring the inventors together and do not come in their way. Companies try to build a creative environment. Innovative companies do not interrupt or discourage their employees when they try to do something new. For example, when your employees are trying to create something new and in that process if they commit some mistakes, you should not behave harshly with them. If you scold employees for committing mistakes, they will not dare to do anything new. Great inventors believe that innovation happens in chaos, means innovation happens where there is no discipline at all. For example, in the book The Facebook Effect, the author tells the story of how Mark Zuckerberg started Facebook and how he built Facebook. In the early days of Facebook, there was no discipline at all at the company. Engineers used to code day and night at any time they wanted and sit anywhere they wanted. But when companies grow bigger, they have more responsibilities. At that time, they need to organize their working culture. And therefore, companies hire managers to organize their workflow. So in a nutshell, this is what it looks like. Creativity in chaos, then the managers, and then things get in order. That is how successful companies keep their working culture balanced, where creativity and responsibility both have equal importance. The second thing is, companies design a basic structure of processes inside the respective departments of companies for the innovation in their products, services and processes. They always have 6 goals. Let us see them one by one. Number 1. Product innovation. It refers to introducing a new product. For example, Amazon Echo, Amazon's Fire TV Stick and Amazon's Kindle. Number 2. Product improvement. It aims to enhance the performance and reduce the cost of products. Here is an amazing example of product improvement. The Boeing 737 is the best-selling commercial jet of the modern world, with more than 7,400 Boeing delivered to the customers. Now see these photos. On your left, that model is from 1970s. On your right, this is the current model. The look of the Boeing 737 has hardly changed, yet Boeing has been improving it in terms of fuel consumption, pollution control, noise level reduction, and many other things. More than 3.5 lakh components were involved in building the first Boeing 737, and in the last 40 years, they have replaced almost all of those components with the new advanced components. We do not notice these improvements, yet these improvements outperform the old models in every aspect. Number 3. Service innovation. This includes introducing new services to your customers like the invention of ATM machines by banks, Google Maps by Google. Now imagine once upon a time in the insurance business, insurance was largely sold face to face, but now you can buy insurance online. So the approach has largely been changed and successful companies always keep up with it. Number 4. Service improvement. The first ATM machine was installed in 1967 in North London, but now ATM machines are everywhere. You can even deposit money through these new ATM machines, so that is what we call service improvement. Number 5. Process innovation. The process is nothing but the manufacturing or development process of your product. Process innovation aims to find a new effective way to develop your product in order to reduce the cost and time. Number 6. Process improvement. It is often related to reducing cost, improving performances, and at the same time increasing the volume of production. There was a time when a small team of people used to make the entire car, but now modern factories use both automation and humans. Car companies need humans when they want to invent or introduce a new model of a car. Once the first model of a new car is designed, then most of the process is done via automation. After designing the first model of a car, companies use automation for mass production. Business models of successful companies are always a great combination of product, service, and process. They build a great ecosystem around these three. For example, Amazon has invested a great deal in designing an ecosystem for buying books. They have Amazon.com where you can buy books, and they manufacture Amazon Kindle as well, an ebook reader on which you can read those books, and it is the most preferred device for reading books so far. Then Amazon bought Goodreads, a social catalog of books that allows you to search the whole database of books, review those books, and also it lets you create your own digital bookshelf. Then Amazon precisely connected all these things with one another. They made a great ecosystem of buying, selling, reviewing, and finding the books, and now they don't have any competition in that market. Users buy books on Amazon, read them on Kindle, and then review those books as well as find new books on Goodreads. Isn't that an amazing ecosystem Amazon has? But then again, no matter how hard the big companies try, they cannot always invent everything. There will always be some bright engineers in the world who prefer working independently rather than working for companies like Amazon or Google. In such cases, these companies use a different strategy, which is acquiring new startups and adding them into their ecosystem. For example, in the case of Amazon's ecosystem of books, Amazon did not build the social media platform Goodreads. Amazon acquired it and integrated it into its ecosystem. In another case, Google has been very keen to develop artificial intelligence. So Google has its own department working on artificial intelligence, as well as the acquisition department which keeps an eye on startups related to artificial intelligence. And if they find a startup that can positively contribute to Google's ecosystem, Google acquires them at any cost. So the bottom line is, keeping your company or startup innovative is a great deal. It is not easy. On the one hand, rival companies fight for existing customers in existing markets, and on the other hand, someone could be working to introduce a completely new technology or a product which could disrupt your industry and eventually replace you in the near future. Just like how once Google replaced Yahoo and now electric cars are disrupting the automobile industry. The battles between rival companies are important, but companies also need to keep watch on new disruptive inventions. Therefore, big companies always try to hire smart engineers from around the world, as well as they try to acquire new innovative startups. But when you are at the beginning of building your own startup, you need a great amount of knowledge, and knowledge comes from books. So check out the amazing range of books mentioned in the description. And watch this clip of Steve Jobs on how to manage people effectively and why companies fail.
With John Scully, John came from PepsiCo, and they at most would change their product, once every 10 years. I mean, to them, a new product was like a new size bottle, right? So if you were a product person, you couldn't change the course of that company very much. So who influenced the success of PepsiCo? The sales and marketing people. Therefore, they were the ones that got promoted, and therefore they were the ones that ran the company. Well, for PepsiCo, that might have been okay, but it turns out the same thing can happen in technology companies that get monopolies, like, IBM and Xerox. If you were a product person at IBM or Xerox, so you make a better copy or a better computer. So what? When you have a monopoly market share, the company's not any more successful. So the people that can make the company more successful are sales and marketing people, and they end up running the companies. And the product people get driven out of the decision-making forums. And the companies forget what it means to make great products. Sort of the product sensibility and the product genius that brought them to that monopolistic position gets rotted out by people running these companies who have no conception of a good product versus a bad product. They have no conception of the craftsmanship that's required to take a good idea and turn it into a good product. And they really have no feeling in their hearts, usually, about wanting to really help the customers. So that's what happened at Xerox. The people at Xerox PARC used to call the people that ran Xerox toner heads.